Welcome to Guide to First Time. Hi, I'm Roberta, and I am sharing all our adventures to Disney World this season so you can go for the first time or your 10th time and still have a lot of fun and do some different things. This episode is all about our springtime surprise race weekend. I ran it with my son, who's 10. We ran the 5K and then I ran the 10K by myself. It was kind of a hybrid trip. I did a solo trip, solo days, and then family days. I also got, for the first time, I got lightning lanes during the day, like the day of, when we got to the park. I never done that in my life. I've never felt more unprepared, but at the same time, more excited to see how that goes. So it was definitely a trip of firsts. So let's jump right in. Hey, welcome to my closet. And you might be wondering, why are you here? And that's a fair question. There are two reasons. Number one, I'm very self-conscious. I'm a millennial, 40-something years old. So it's very odd to talk to a camera, especially trying to make it easy and conversational. So I like to be in a secluded space. It makes me feel more comfortable. Second, I was looking for the place in my house where I have some Disney stuff to kind of be the background. And I realize I don't have any other than my closet. So right here, you can see my Disney ears collection, quote unquote, is the only thing I love buying at Disney. I have a few backpacks, but they're all black and like not that fun. The most fun I have at Disney with mementos and stuff is actually with the ears. So here I am in my closet. But let's get to it. This is the trip report for my springtime surprise race weekend. It started as a solo trip because my son was still in school and I had to pick up the bib a day ahead of the trip. So ahead of the race. So the 5K was on Thursday morning. Yes. No, the 5K was Friday morning. So my son and husband drove in Thursday night after school, but I had to pick up during the day. So I went actually 2 days earlier because I wanted to do a few things on my own. And so day one, I went Wednesday. I took the Bright Line, worked super well. The train was on time, clean. I had my seat. And then it arrived at the MCO and I walked to Mears, the bus service. As a single person traveling, it really didn't make sense to go get an Uber. So I got to Mears and it took a lot longer than I thought because they actually have to fill out full buses with people. And then you get called in and then they drop off at several hotels. Mine was the last one. Obviously, I was the only one going to Coronado Springs. So it took forever. And that put a wrench on my original plans. I had the whole schedule done to go and do a 4-park plus trip in one day. So I was going to do a 4-park half day, which is another twist on this wonderful challenge. And I just didn't feel like it because we got to the hotel around 1 and I was starving. My original plan was to get there around noon and, just power through and go to the first park, Animal Kingdom, and do the 4 parks. So I I changed and I said, this is not sounding like fun at all to just do 4 parks while hungry and tired and already late. So I decided to do Hollywood Studios and do it well and just take my time and do all the activities that I have never done with my family, which is crazy. We've been so many times this year, but there's still so many activities we haven't done. Plus, I only seen Fantasmic once, and as if you probably heard me saying in other episodes, it was the one thing that changed my whole entire view of Disney. It was the one attraction that made me fall in love and buy an annual pass. So very dear to my heart. I gotta see it again before our annual passes expire. So I did Hollywood Studios. I pivot. Actually, I made that decision while in the bus and I took the bus to Animal Kingdom. I'm like, let's follow the plan. Let's just go with the plan and do it. I never done the 4 parks in one day. I thought it would be this is the time to go, because my kid and my husband is like, no, this seems like horrible. Let's not do it. So I did it. I got on the bus for Animal Kingdom after grabbing something to eat at the hotel at El Mercado and shower. I actually went to the room. My room was ready. I changed from Ranchos to Cabanas, which is perfect location. I'm going to talk about the hotel in a second. And while I was in the bus for Animal Kingdom, we had one more stop in Coronado Springs. And I noticed that the bus to Hollywood Studios was coming right behind me. I said, you know what? I'm going to do Hollywood Studios and just chill and have a chill day and do all the things I haven't done before. So I jumped to another bus and went to Hollywood Studios instead. Another perk of having an annual pass, you can just change your mind. It's not a big deal. All right, back to the check-in. We got to the hotel around 1. Mears was excellent. They were very friendly. It just takes time. So just account for 1-2 hours kind of going through the motion. And then my room was ready. I changed to a cabana room because I figured it was a lot of walking, even for me. And then I went to get some food. El Mercado was a disappointment. Actually, all food spoiler alert, all food was kind of disappointing to me at Coronado Springs, and I was very excited, except the pool. We're going to talk about that. And I walked around the hotel, took a few pictures. Another thing, I don't get to do much because there's always someone hungry, always someone wanting to do something in the room. And took a few pictures of the hotel, a few videos, walked around, figured out where everything is. I like to just know where things are. And that's why I go to one place several times, where I like to live in a place for a certain period of time, because I like to really know the place. And that's what I did. Walked around, figured out where I was, where everything was. When my family arrived, I was the guide, the official guide. All right. So once in Hollywood Studios, I went straight for a coffee float, and I jumped into I got the cold brew float. I wanted ice cream and coffee, so that was perfect. It was very delicious. It wasn't too hot that day, so that just hit the spot perfectly. And then I went to the Frozen sing-along, which we have never done. We've done the Villains show, but not the Frozen sing-along. I love it. It was absolutely fantastic. And then I went to Toy Story Land for Slinky Dog and Toy Story Mania. Again, 2 attractions we've never done. And Toy Story Mania has a funny story behind it. Every time we go, it breaks and we're kind of going somewhere else. So from the first trip, we tried to go on this ride, I think 3 times before, and never done it because it always breaks and we're on a time crunch to do something else. So we have to walk out. This time I did make it and it was super fun. So I'm like, my son will love this. Then I went to Galaxy's Edge. I wanted to get one of those Batuan Spirit cards. That's like a gift card that they only sell at Galaxy's Edge. I think is one of the cutest souvenirs ever. And then I passed by Doc Onder's Den of Antiquities. I saw in one, there's like a few creators that only do Star Wars and they focus on the parks, which I think is cool and very niche. And they were talking about those orbs that they sell there. And I passed by. I loved it. I'm like, my son would absolutely love this experience. And then I got a reservation at Oga's. It was just a walk on. It smelled a little bit, which was funny to me. I've been a couple of times and never had that problem. I sat by a really fun family. They were trying to do selfies, so I offered to help. They helped me with some photos. We talked. And that's another thing about being solo that I really enjoyed is you can talk to anybody at Disney and people don't get it. They're like, how can you go alone anywhere? Disney is the place to go because there are tons of people traveling solo, first of all. And also people are very friendly. They don't think it's odd, which is odd. Put it that way. I had a tingly peach drink called Fuzzy Tauntaun. It was very tingly. I needed some water. And then I was getting hungry. It was kind of 6 p.m. So I got mobile order tachos. I never get tachos because it has cheese, and I never mobile order. One thing, if you go with kids or family members that have allergies, is that they don't accept modifications through mobile order. You gotta stay in line and they got to make sure that's done right. So it takes quite a bit to get your order. So I did mobile order and stopped by and picked it up, and it was glorious. Loved the experience. Love my family, but they're kind of hard to please when it comes to food. So this was a good new experience for me. Then I walked to take pictures in front of Tower of Terror. I never done in that spot, and we have the memory maker in our account, so it was the perfect time to get some photos in a new spot. And then I walked into Tower of Terror. It was a little bit of wait, but not terrible. The whole day was 20-minute wait, no lightning lanes, no nothing. It was a chill day. It was fun to just walk in anywhere I wanted. And while I was waiting, I saw a girl with ears, like I said, my little addiction, Star Wars ones that I really wanted. And she said, it's next to Star Traders. So after Tower of Terror, I went back and got the ears. Here they are. They're very simple. I love the black ears. They just make me feel a little bit more grown up, even though I'm wearing ears. And they're very simple, but it's still very Star Warsy, which I gotta go with the fam, is what they dress like. They don't have anything else other than Star Wars. So I want to be part of the family next time we go to the parks. I got those. And then I noticed that Rise of the Resistance was kind of like a low weight, but I wanted to try the single rider. Again, things that I've never done, and I could only do now that I was traveling solo. So I went on the single rider lane. It wasn't as fast as I thought, and definitely you missed some of the pre-shows. Definitely not for someone at the first time, but I've been to this ride a couple of times. It was nice to not to see everything again. So cool, went through. And then I went for Tower of Terror Part 2. That was kind of like around 7:45 p.m. And again, I was there for Fantasmic, so I couldn't miss that. But I'm not in a hurry. Fantasmic, even if I'm standing in the back, I know how it works. I don't need a best seat in the house. I actually wanted to stay behind. So I went for Tower of Terror one more time. I wanted to do it at night. It wasn't super dark, unfortunately, but I got through and it was fun. I got to sit in the front, which is definitely my preferred experience. I've done Tower of Terror in the back and in the front, and it's definitely a lot scarier in the front. So if you want to get scared, go in the front. If you have little kids, put them in the back. Quick tip. All right. And then I got out and walked right into Fantasmic. Was literally 5 minutes before the show started. And then I got pixie dusted. I've never done it. So pixie dust is when a cast member of someone, does something that you're not expecting and is really nice. They gave me a ticket to sit in the preferred area. Go figures, right? So I sat in the preferred area, which is nice and better views. And it was amazing, just as I remember. And I knew the end. So when the boats with the princesses and everybody and the casts start coming out, I just walked out before everybody. And that was my first day. Went back to the hotel, showered again, and had a really great sleep. End of day one. All right, day two. Day two was Magic Kingdom, rope drop, which I've never done. Never rope drop Magic Kingdom, and run Disney Expo. I ran Disney in 2013, so it was very different back then. It was a lot less commotion, but I was ready for Run Disney, and that was my day. I woke up at 5:30. I was trying to keep up the schedule because the races are so early. I woke up slowly, left the room. I was getting my husband and my son ready for school, even far away. I almost missed the bus to Magic Kingdom. And at 7:30, it was crowded. It was very crowded. I was like, one person just fit in. I would have missed if I had other people with me. So definitely something to consider in those big hotels like Coronado, that you might actually miss your bus or not have a space on it. At 7:50, I arrived at Magic Kingdom and I went to Peter Pan's flight. Again, I'm doing things that I've never done before. Peter Pan, we've never done. All the other attractions that were open at that time, we have done before, except maybe the new Buzz Lightyear. So that was also on the plan, and I did later on, but I stayed in line for Peter Pan, and it was a big line. People just stand there. Honestly, not my favorite. Rope dropping has been going down my list of favorite things just because it's a lot of waiting. You wait before you go to the park, and then you wait to get in. Honestly, all in all, is almost an hour to get to Peter Pan flight. I don't know. I don't know if it's payoff, but it was nice. It was quieter, which is always a great feeling to see the park less busy and buzzing. And I also met another single person there, like another solo traveler who was a mom of three. She was going for a conference and she decided to just have a day at Magic Kingdom, and she had lightning lanes and we had the ears, and it was super fun to chat with someone that was also solo and a mom. And that's what we did. We did Peter Pan together. And then I went to get another coffee. I tried to get another float, but they didn't have it open. And I walked around. I'm like debated to go into another ride, but I was really going for Tiana. So I decided to just take my time. I lined up at Memento Mori right on that bridge because they don't open that side of the park until 8. 8, right? No, 8:30. No. 9 is when the park opens that day. So I lined up there, had my coffee, and was just taking it slow until Tiana's open or that side of the park. We walked. There was just a few people there. Nobody likes to ride Tiana in the morning because you can't get soaked. So I was one of the brave ones. I said, I'm going to do it. It's one of the must-dos for me. And it was broken. They were not taking anybody in. They were sending people away. I just stayed there, talked to some people, and relax. It was a perfect day, perfect morning. I'm like, I can stand here. So around 9:12, we walked in. One of the first people, I got to take wonderful pictures in the queue. One of the things I still want to do and haven't done is to get all the cues, kind of lore, right? All the little stories behind and kind of go a scavenger hunt. Tiana, I think, is one, it would be perfect for us. So is Tower of Terror. I tried to take some pictures, but again, like I couldn't really crack the code for that activity yet. Maybe something for later. And love Tiana. Didn't want to get soaked, so I got the third row. The third row is perfect. I got just a few splashes. It was absolutely wonderful to not get soaking wet, but still experience the ride. And then I went to get the beignets. Again, another thing I can't just walk in and eat. So I got the beignets. The ones by Tiana's are with honey and powdered sugar. I loved it. Haven't done the French Quarter yet. Maybe this next trip. And then I had to decide where to go. There were a few other activities that I haven't done, and I was going towards Buzz Lightyear on the other side of the park, and Country Bear Jamboree was just starting. I'm like, let me see this. It was cute. But again, like one of those rides that just need a total revamp. Might not be for the current crowd. And I stopped by the spring roll cart and got some spring rolls. They are delicious. Not so much of the pizza one, but the hamburger one is delicious. I would totally have that again. And I went to Buzz Lightyear. At that time, the line was already well formed. It was like past 10 a.m. So it said 30-minute wait, but I think I waited about 15 or 20 minutes. And it was great. I loved the ride. It was so sweet and so exciting, but it broke midway. So I was just sitting there waiting for it to work back. I never got the photos from PhotoPass, which I really wanted. Then I had a little bathroom break and headed out because I had to go to the expo and I didn't want to get tired. Again, like this whole trip was about running Disney, and I didn't want to overdo on the first day or the day before. So I got an all-American sundae, which with extra peanut butter sauce because my son is also severely allergic to peanut butter, so I can't have it. So I got that ginormous sundae. Too much for one person. I had a few bites. took a few pictures, sit there, just took it all in, and then headed to the Contemporary to get the bus to ESPN. So you can't take the bus, as far as I know, from the park directly. You got to go to a hotel. I went to Contemporary because it was just one stop in the monorail, and it took forever. But anyways, I was sitting there, I was chatting with other people. It's all good. Contemporary is another hotel that I have zero desires to kind of stay in. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to be wrong, but it's just not appealing. It looks like a normal hotel. Then we got to ESPN, and it took way too long to get to pick up the bibs, lines and lines, but just a lot of walking. They put you through like long, instead of sitting in line and waiting, they just make you walk. Don't love it because I'm saving for the race. I don't want to walk more than I need to, but I did walk through everything. And then they sent me to another place very far away in the heat to get the t-shirts, which by the way were way too small. So I had to wait in another line to exchange the t-shirts. I did some didn't work, but this is for another time. And then I headed back. I didn't want to buy anything. I'm not a big shopper when it comes to like pins and other t-shirts and stuff because I actually don't wear them, not even in the park. So I didn't buy anything. And the shoes, I only wear the same shoes that I've worn forever. So I'm not buying any shoes either. Despite that the princess ones that they had were really cute, but they didn't have it at this time. All right, sat in another lane. I wish the photo pass, I wanted to take more photos on the expo, but the lines were so long. I was just done with that expo. Not my favorite, honestly. Disney needs to do a little bit more of a, either some hotels could have pickups for people that just wants the bib and the t-shirt. They have to have something express, like I don't want to walk through all of this. I don't want to take a million buses. This is a little bit too much. There you go, Disney. Do better. And then I took the bus to the hotel, shower, rested a little bit, and went to check out the menus. My family was arriving that night, so I wanted to be prepared with a plan to what to eat. And I went to Barcelona Lounge to get my very first espresso martini. They did it great. Not my drink though. It's a little bit too like creamy for my taste. So, but I met some other nice ladies that were traveling alone or together and running the race. Some people were there for an expo. There's always something going on. And I think Coronado Springs would work really well for someone solo because it is an expo hotel, meaning a lot of people are traveling there solo anyways for work. So it works. Around 6:40, earlier than we planned, Josh and Warren, or my husband and Warren and my son, arrived. I met them at the front of the hotel. We drove to park right behind our room, got everything in, and then we walked. They rested a little bit, and then we walked to Three Bridges, the walk-in place right in the middle of the lakes, and we waited a long time. We were so hungry. So that was one of the first major glitches we had with food. And the food was just not great. Biggest disappointment of this trip, I was raving about that Three Bridges place that had amazing food and it didn't work for us. The around 9:15, way too late, we got back to the hotel. We did my son's allergy protocol, way too late. We were so tired. And I prepped the clothes for the next morning because the next day was the 5K and we had to be there at 4 a.m. So that was the end of day 2. Day 3 was our 5K race and Epcot day. I actually had lightning lanes. I bought lightning lanes because I was going to be tired and I wanted my son and my husband to have a good time. That's not just all about me, I guess. So I had lightning lanes booked for Epcot. We had a whole plan for the day. My son and I woke up way too early, 2:30 in the morning. I woke him up at 3. I like to be ready a little bit in advance. 3:30, we got the bus stop right behind the cabanas. Perfect location. And 4:10, we were waiting to start. We got Corral D, which was funny. My son was in Corral C and I was in G and they didn't let us in. So he stayed with me in Corral G. Uh, this is a quick note. If you are in two different ones, you got to go to the lower or late. It takes way too long. I knew that. I knew that, it takes a while, but I didn't expect that to take so long. So we didn't start running until 5:30. My son was done. That was way too much. He's 10, and that was literally not the best experience. He's like, I don't want to be doing this. But anyways, running through Epcot was a lot of fun. He did good. We had to stop a few times for a bathroom break. Totally fine. I was just there for the fun and, to have fun with him. He didn't want to stop for any character photos. So we just walked and ran the whole time. It was great to see the sun kind of coming in at Epcot. And it was just a fun time. But that race, just the start and the wait is so brutal that it takes so much out of the enjoyment of going through the parks and seeing all the attractions, and we didn't stop for anything. So honestly, it was a little chaotic. That said, I got the cutest medal up to that point because the 10K surprise was fabulous. Here's the 5K goes. It was Judy and forgot the name of the other character in Zootopia, but it was cute. Judy Hobson, forgot. Anyways, we ran. It took way too long to get back to the hotel. Coronado Springs, big hotel, a huge line to get in the bus, sweaty bus, not so fun. We were so hungry, but we made it. We went back to the hotel, shower, and we had reservations. We ate a few things in the hotel room, but we had Epcot reservation for lunch. No, we didn't have a reservation. We had for dinner that night, but we got chicken fingers. We walked into Epcot. We got the chicken fingers from the main food court. I forgot the name. Creations, maybe? And at 1:20, we had Lightning Lane. I think at 1:15, 1:20, our Lightning Lane for Guardians of the Galaxy started. My son refused to go again. So we talked to a cast member and he gave us the money back for that reservation. He didn't want to go into Guardians of the Galaxy. I got Run Baby Run. So at first, and I asked to go on row 9, which is also something I have never done, which is the last row. So when you go backwards, you're in the front. I've never done it before, so I wanted to do it. They were pretty accommodating, and if you're one person, my son and my husband was in the rider swap waiting area, and then my husband went after I was done. He got September. And he was bummed about it. I'm like, I never got September. Then I went again. They asked me if I wanted to go. I'm like, yes, I do want to go. And I got Run Baby Run again. Anyways, it was all good fun. I had fun. I went in the very first lane. They're very accommodating. And then we went to get some sort of toy at Treasures of Xander. And it was too big to carry, so we decided to buy later in the day. But that was my son's favorite thing. That's what he wanted to do this trip, was to get this new Avengers toy. So we were going to go back for it. And then I had Lightning Lane for Spaceship Earth, which was just another thing they haven't done. Figment. And while they were doing those things, I picked up a pin from one of my friends. Love buying things for friends, not so much for me. And some foods from the festival. Again, things that I never got to do. It was very good. I had the mascarpone frozen, what is it called? Dry freeze. It was just delicious with honey. I think the whole theme of this year is a lot of honey going around. It was very good. And then I met them at Figment. We went for the land to actually, you probably already heard all about this day because I did an episode. So I'm going to link it here. If you listen to the episode, the Epcot half day with Lightning Lanes, that's what we've done. So I'm going to just skip ahead. You can listen to this whole day or this whole half day at your own with more details. And it was just a great day. Lightning Lanes work even half a day It was plenty of things to do, but I was tired. And the next day I had a 10K. So we had to go to bed early. And then we went to the hotel to sleep. End of day 3. All right, day 4. I did a 10K by myself. Then we changed plans. We had plans to go to Animal Kingdom, but the boys are like, you know what? We really want to go to Hollywood Studios. So we changed plans again. Being a pass holder, one of the best benefits, in my opinion, is that you can just switch plans as you wish. And you can hear all about that on episode 4, I believe. I talked all about going to Hollywood Studios when we bought Lightning Lanes the day of, and literally in the afternoon, and still made so much out of it. The whole story is on that episode. So let's focus on the beginning of the day, is when I ran the 10K by myself. My son, I thought it would be too much, and definitely would be too much. So I woke up a little bit later because I did not want to sit there and wait for too long. I end up waiting for way too long again. So 3:30, I woke up. 4 a.m., I was at the bus. I got Corral F, the last one. And then I was in the second to last wave to ever start. We didn't start moving out until 5:40. It was brutal, especially alone. The weather was great, nothing to complain. But again, like, I don't know how Disney got to do this, but if I'm ever on Corral F again, I'm not getting there until like 5. Honestly, I'm like, if I'm going to be the last one to run, I'm just not going to leave my house that early. My house. I mean the hotel. All right. At 8:30, I got back to the hotel, showered, had a little snack, woke up my kid. My husband was sleeping until much, much later. And I wanted to check out the pool. Another great thing about Coronado that I heard amazing things about it and I wanted to try. I also heard amazing things about the pool bar and the food there. So this is my plan for brunch, and was to get something at the hotel. And so we had it in for the pool at around 9:30. And the pool was closed. The pool didn't open until 10, which we did not know. At 10 a.m., we kind of lounged around the hammock area, which was very fun and relaxing. And headed back to the pool around 10, grabbed some chairs under an umbrella, and the Siestas Cantina, which is where we were going to get the food, which we were starving for, was also closed. They said it didn't open until 11, but we're so hungry. So they open at 10, but only for drinks. And food was not until 11. So I got a margarita, tried a few of their drinks, and we sat by the pool, and my son started just swimming and having a good time. One of the highlights of this morning was actually the brisket nachos that they served at 11, and the hot tub is one of the biggest in the whole Disney area. It was nice after 2 runs to kind of relax in the heat. Not my favorite activity, but it was also fun. The slide was also another highlight. We ordered some chicken strips, everything. The food was absolutely fantastic and delicious. Around noon, we went back to the room, showered, changed, and got ready for Hollywood Studios. And that's when the episode 4 comes about. So if you want to listen to all of that, is in episode 4, how we did it and why we did it. And that was the end of day 4. Day 5 was our going home, leaving Disney Bubble one last time. We woke up around 6 a.m. I got coffee, pastries. My son was still sleeping. My husband was definitely sleeping. We checked out at 11. There were some issues with the room through the night, so I just went and let them know. I started packing. I do it at 7 a.m. I like to be packed first, and then I can help them pack. We checked out and drove to Disney Springs. First thing we did was to go to the Lego store. We wanted to do the minifigs. So we stand in line for about 5 minutes and walked in, bought some of the sets. I bought a little mini castle, and Warren made a custom Lego. My son made a custom Lego. Then we headed to World of Disney. There's always checking out the merch. I bought a necklace, which I am wearing as a bracelet right here. Not easy to see. And a t-shirt. I really love it. It was with one of all the cute things that are in the park. Then everybody was hungry, so we were still early for our reservation. We got some pretzels to kind of hold us over. Our reservation was not until 1, so we got pretzels. The pretzels had milk, so we had to get chips and waters. And we went to check in at Boathouse at 12:30, see if we could get in early. Nope. It was absolutely mayhem. There's so many people waiting. The line to just check in was gigantic. I got a frozen drink, was delicious, great. Just sat there and talked to people, some people from the UK, and we were just, chatting while my husband went with my son to get some treats at the bakery, the vegan bakery, and also like check for some watches or something around Disney Springs. They came back. And then we were very hungry and tired. We wanted to go home and they were late already. So at 1:30, I said, you can just cancel. They're like, no. We waited until 2:20 and they set us at 2:20. That doesn't look right. Maybe 1:20. The food was okay. My food was good. There's like the service took forever. Again, like it was just a really, really busy day. I think Sunday after the race, and there was still some competition. So Disney Springs been really, really crazy busy. That sit down lunch wasn't the best, especially like the last day, you just want to go home. So for the next trip, I think we're just gonna go. And then after food, we just headed home. A quick stop at the bakery for more vegan treats. And it rained on our way home as usual. It's our routine. The last day, it always rains. Perfect weather otherwise. And that was the end of our 5-day trip to almost all the parks. I didn't go to Animal Kingdom this time, which I'm going just to Animal Kingdom next, which makes sense, perfect sense. But we did run 2 races and went to 3 parks. I went to Hollywood Studios twice. I'm done with it. Here's the 10K. That was the cutest one. 10K medal, all race done. Again, the races were okay. I ran a half marathon in 2013 and I didn't really remember it was not as much fun. I had fun running through Epcot and it was a lot. It was a lot of people and the logistics are brutal. So I am still interested in running the Princess Marathon weekend next year, half marathon weekend, but I definitely wouldn't go with kids or my whole family. I think I'm going to go alone if I get in because it's just the logistics of the days are very chaotic and the waking up super early, it's not for everybody. It doesn't make for a fun day or trip for people that are just there sitting and waiting. So those are my thoughts for our trip report. Overall, really fun going solo ahead of time. Worked really well because I knew everything and I've done everything by myself. And then I could just enjoy being with my family and focusing on the races as well. And the time, perfect. 5 days, 4 nights, absolute perfection. Coronado Springs, great hotel. Especially going solo, I didn't feel like I was just, immersed in families. Lots of things to do. It's not hard to walk around, especially if you're going to stay in the casitas or the cabanas, ranchos. A little bit of a walk and definitely go get food at the pool. Just the best place by far. And that's it. Final thoughts on this magical trip. Hope you like this trip report. There's more coming about Disney and how to do it for the first time. So follow along, subscribe to the podcast where you listen to your podcasts, and I'll see you in the next episode.